God was just about done creating humans. He was feeling pretty satisfied with his work, but he had two parts left over. He couldn't decide how to split them between Adam and Eve, so he thought he might just as well ask them. I've got two things for you, but you'll have to decide who gets what. The first thing is the ability to pee standing up. Adam interrupted. Oh, please give that to me. I'd love to be able to do that. It seems like just the sort of thing a man should have. Please. Please. Give it to me. On and on he went like an excited little boy, bouncing up and down. Eve just smiled and told God that if Adam really wanted it so badly, he could have it. So God gave Adam the ability to pee standing up. Adam was so excited that he just started whizzing all over the place. First on the side of a rock, then he wrote his name in the sand, and then he did the helicopters with his thing. Look, Eve, I'm a sprinkler. God and Eve watched him with amusement, and then God said to Eve, well, I guess you're kind of stuck with the last thing I have left. Eve asked, what's that? God said. Brains. A millionaire had been going out with a croupier from the local casino for 2 months. They'd had a great time, often staying out until the early hours of the morning, but both of them knew nothing serious would come of it. Then one evening, the croupier turned to the man and said, why don't we get married? The man looked shocked. Oh, come on, Rose, you know that's not possible. When I marry, it has to be to a titled family. I know, she sighed. Then why did you ask? I just wanted to know how it felt to lose a fortune. A young farm couple, Homer and Daisy, got married and just couldn't seem to get enough loving. In the morning, before Homer left the house for the fields, they made love. When Homer came back from the fields, they made love. After supper, they made love. And again at bedtime, they made love. The problem was their nooner. It took Homer a half hour to travel home and another half hour to return to the fields, and he just wasn't getting enough work done. Finally, Homer asked the town doctor what to do. Homer, said the doctor, just take your rifle out to the fields with you, and when you're in the mood, fire off a shot into the air. That will be Daisy's signal to come out to you. Then you won't lose any field time. They tried Doc's advice, and it worked well for a while, until one day when Homer came back to the doctor's office. What's wrong? Asked the doc. Didn't my idea work? Oh, it worked good, said Homer. Whenever I was in the mood, I fired off a shot, as you said, and Daisy'd come running. We'd find a secluded place, make love, and then she'd go back home again. Good, Homer. So what's the problem? Asked the doc. I might have trained her too good. I ain't seen her since hunting season started. 2 tigers were walking in single file through the jungle. Suddenly, the tiger at the back began licking the butt of the tiger in front. Cut it out, said the first tiger. The second tiger apologized, and they continued walking. 5 minutes later, the second tiger again started licking the butt of the first tiger. Will you stop doing that? Snarled the first tiger. The second tiger apologized, and they continued on their way. 5 minutes later, the second tiger again licked the first tiger's butt. What is it with you? Hissed the first tiger, turning angrily and baring his claws. I'm really sorry, said the second tiger. I didn't mean to upset you, but earlier today I ate a divorce lawyer, and I'm trying to get the taste out of my mouth. A wife decides to take her husband, Dave, to an adult club for his birthday. They arrive at the club, and the doorman says, Hey, Dave. How you doing? His wife is puzzled and asks if he's been to this club before. Oh, no, says Dave. He's on my bowling team. When they are seated, a waitress asks Dave if he'd like his usual and brings over a Budweiser. His wife is becoming increasingly uncomfortable and says, How did she know that you drink Budweiser? She's in the ladies' bowling league, honey. We share lanes with them. Just then, a performer comes over to their table, throws her arms around Dave and says, "Hi, Davey, want your usual dance?" Dave's wife, now furious, grabs her purse and storms out of the club. Dave follows and spots her getting into a cab. Before she can slam the door, he jumps in beside her. He tries desperately to explain how the woman must have mistaken him for someone else, but his wife is having none of it. She is screaming at him at the top of her lungs, calling him every name in the book. The cabbie turns his head and says, "Geez, Dave, looks like you picked up a real feisty one tonight." A woman walks into a saloon and stands on a chair. "Fellas, my hole is so big that I'll give $100 to anyone who has something that I can't take." A big cowboy gets up and takes off his size 16 cowboy boots and shoves them into her hole. The boots go right in. He grabs a flashlight and, that too, goes in. He puts his face in between her legs to get a better look, and he also goes in. Inside, he hears noises. "Is someone else in here?" he asks. "Yeah, I've been in here for a week," the voice says. "Help me find my flashlight and we can get out of here," the cowboy says. "Hell," says the other man. "Help me find my keys and we can drive out." A wife asks her husband, "Honey, if I died, would you remarry?" After a considerable period of grieving, he says, "I guess I would. We all need companionship." "If I died and you remarried," the wife asks, "would she live in this house? We've spent a lot of money getting this house just the way we want it." "I guess so." "If I died and you remarried and she lived in this house," the wife asks, "would she sleep in our bed?" "Well, the bed is brand new. It's going to last a long time." "I guess she would." "If I died and you remarried and she lived in this house and slept in our bed, would she use my golf clubs?" "Oh no," the husband replies. "She's left-handed." Two couples were playing poker one evening. Dave accidentally dropped some cards on the floor. When he bent down under the table to pick them up, he noticed Carl's wife, Kate, wasn't wearing any underwear under her dress. Shocked by this, Dave, upon trying to sit back up again, hit his head on the table and emerged red-faced. Later, Dave went to the kitchen to get some refreshments. Carl's wife followed and asked, "Did you see anything that you like under there?" Surprised by her boldness, Dave admitted that, well, indeed he did. She said, "Well, you can have it, but it will cost you $500. After taking a minute or two to assess the financial and moral costs of this offer, Dave confirmed that he was interested. Kate told him that since her husband Carl played golf Friday afternoons and Dave didn't, Dave should be at her house around 2:00 p.m. Friday afternoon. When Friday rolled around, Dave showed up at Carl's house at 2:00 p.m. sharp, and after paying Kate the agreed sum of $500, they went to the bedroom and closed their transaction as agreed. Dave quickly dressed and left. As usual, Carl came home from golf at 6:00 p.m. and upon arriving, asked his wife, "Did Dave come by the house this afternoon?" With a lump in her throat, Kate answered, "Why, yes. He did stop by for a few minutes this afternoon." Her heart nearly skipped a beat when her husband curtly asked, "And did he give you $500? Kate, using her best poker face, replied, "Well, yes, in fact, he did give me $500. Carl, with a satisfied look on his face, surprised his wife by saying, "He came by the golf club this morning and borrowed $500 from me. He promised he'd stop by our house this afternoon on his way home and pay me back.